Okay with that.
So what are we going to do? Think about it and respond?
We're going to think about it and try to persuade you that we're not trying to beat your people out of all their overtime, and that we mean what we say when we say we may do it, and we would do it temporarily. And we're amenable to some kind of cap, and we'll try to figure out maybe if there's a number that, or language that we could deal with on that. So we'll come back perhaps with a modified proposal on it.
Well, we're used to it, believe me. We spend millions and millions of dollars that we hear about for all kinds of stuff, but everything keeps coming on our back. That's what everybody's getting tired of. Morale ain't worth a damn, and they know it. They keep having all these classes for supervisors and everybody. What can you do to boost morale? Got a real simple answer for you. You know what it is.
Buy it.
Buy it. Pay people what they should be getting paid.
All right.
Where?
Same thing. Yeah. Buy it. Monetary.
Every time you turn around, they're building a new building somewhere.
I mean, you got people here getting government assistance, man. I mean, it's.
Yeah, we're trying our best to put something in the budget for October.
Thank you.
You know what I'm
Everybody
saying?
could do
No,
that.
I do. I see all the issues.
28 million for a new courthouse, 10 million for a new utilities building, which they're working on.
$9 million data center, $1 million in furnishings. It's like the money just keeps coming, but there's never any money. I mean, what are we supposed to think, Barbara? I was right? I don't understand. And I can put two and two together, you know.
Well, it brings us back to 18, which is, you wanted to take a break. And when you came back from break, we kind of hit rewind, but now we're kind of caught up back to where we were. So what did you accomplish on your break?
We had some language retyped for a couple of articles. Barbara brought me up to speed on what you talked about, and I agree with the changes that we're prepared to TA on. And
We have to.
we've talked about grievance arbitration and disciplinary appeals, and I'm not sure that we need to talk about it anymore. I think that perhaps it's time to think about whether there's other language that could be written to cover it.
So there's no change.
You know what our concern is. Right now, we have nothing new to offer you on that one.
Okay, well then, I guess,
And if we could come up with a disciplinary appeals process that describes all the things that need to be done, there'd be no need for the language in 18 that we've proposed. So we might be amenable to pulling that out.
well, we kind of just like flip-flopping back and forth. I mean, first you were explaining how you didn't want a disciplinary appeals process in the CBA, and then you had court cases that prove why you didn't have to have one.
Which I believe did prove that.
And then you put one in. Then you proposed it. We started going. We spent a lot of time, and I understand this is last year, not this year, talking about all the different appeals. I mean, there was pages and pages and pages of stuff that we took from the career service manual, and we tweaked it. And then I think by the time we went to hearing, that all got taken out again. And then now we're talking about putting it back, I guess, in or
Well, what we're doing is, this is the ebb and flow of the bargaining process. We got to a point where we got the language ratified on our side of the table, okay, and we did it through the statutory impasse process, and your members rejected it. We could come back with the exact same position that we had last time and just say, this is it, but we didn't do that. We're trying to work with you and trying to explore points where we might be able to find compromise. If you don't want us to do it, I don't think that's good faith bargaining on our part, is to just say, oh, well, we got it ratified, so the language is exactly the way it is.
I don't think
we haven't done that.
I don't think it's good faith bargaining to spend hours and hours talking about things, getting pretty close to an agreement, and then having it all taken out, and then shifting.
You never agreed to it. So what do you care?
We came pretty close. We came pretty.
You rejected that language, and then your members rejected it after it got resolved through impasse.
When you
at your urging. So you know, you're making it sound as though we're at fault for there not being a contract in place when you're at fault. You personally, I don't mean you, the union.
You know what you're doing? You're
I
throwing
mean
smoke
you
up in the air.
personally.
You're trying to create a smokescreen.
It's not a smokescreen.
It never even made it to the agreement that we rejected. You took it out long before that. We had pages and
Because
pages
you
of a
rejected
disciplinary
it.
process
You
that
rejected
you
it.
wanted.
The record is clear
It was
that you
taken
rejected
out.
it every time.
It was taken out, and then we went to the impasse hearing. You took it out prior to the hearing.
Because we're not permitted as a matter of law to compel you to agree to it. Okay?
All I'm trying to do is trying to bargain a little bit more efficiently, like make up your mind. If you either want an appeals process in the CBA or you don't. The union's not opposed to either concept. You are. You keep taking positions. Your position is, I want it in. No, I want it out. No, I want it in. No, I want it out. That's what you're doing. You're going back and forth. And to me, that's a waste of time. Make up your mind and decide what you want to do. You either want the appeals process in here or you don't. All I care about is having a just cause provision, and when that provision is violated and the union's position is that it's been violated, that we can arbitrate it. That's what I care about. If you want 10 pages of a spelled out disciplinary process, that's fine too. But just make up your mind one way or the other and save some time. That's all I'm asking. So what do you want to do? Do you want an appeals process in here or do you not?
We want the same language that we had in the contract that was submitted for ratification and rejected. If I have to choose something today, I mean, if you have to have a final answer, you don't want to negotiate
I'm not
it,
talking about
then
today,
that's my
Jim.
final
I'm talking
answer.
about a direction to go in. I don't want to paint
No, you forced an answer from us, and what we want is we want the same language that was in the contract that your membership rejected and the Board of County Commissioners ratified. Okay, so that's what we want.
We're not going to reach an agreement if we don't have a just cause provision in the contract. And so, I'm
I
not
guess we're
trying
not
to
going to
be-
reach an
I'm not-
agreement.
Huh?
I guess we're not going to reach an agreement because
You're not going to have a just cause provision?
you
in
drew
this?
the line in the sand and said, I can't negotiate anymore on it, that I have to pick one. And
All
so
right,
I'm
let me get
picking
this straight.
one.
The county's position is,
We want
we
article.
will not reach an agreement.
You don't have to write it down. This guy's recording it, and I'm recording it. We'll both send you copies of it.
That's fine. The county's position is we will not reach an agreement if there is, what, a just cause provision in here?
Oh, I didn't say that.
Well then,
No, that is not what I said.
Okay,
Go
well,
back
what
and
is
listen to it. You want to take a break and
I
play
don't
it
have
back?
to, you're live, you're here. It doesn't make a difference. If you change your mind, you change your mind. Just tell me what your position is.
We're on Article 18,
Right.
and
It's not
you asked,
gotcha with
you
the tape
asked,
recording.
you
It
asked,
doesn't work that way.
you asked me to make a final decision on what our position is on 18, and our position is we want the same language that was in the contract that was submitted for ratification.
Okay, and that's it. That's final.
That's it.
Okay.
That's what we want.
Was there a just, no, does that mean that's final, meaning that you're not going to budge from that position? That's what I'm asking you. Or is there still room to negotiate?
I don't think we're negotiating, are we? You don't like when we.
I don't
the way
know
we
why
negotiate.
everyone else is here. I'm here because we're negotiating.
Okay. So what does that mean? That
I'm
means
just trying.
that
I am
you
just
get to
trying
change your position.
I
We don't
want
get
to
to change
find out
ours.
where we are with the concept of just cause for discipline in this agreement, and whether or not that we can arbitrate a case when someone's terminated without just cause. Because we can just hit fast forward. If your position is that you're never going to, or we're never going to reach an agreement because you are not going to have either a just cause provision in this contract, or we're not going to have the ability to arbitrate an unjust termination, then I'm just going to call PERC and we'll just move forward with that, with the unfair labor practice. Because you cannot tell me that you can demand to have a contract where you can terminate every single person that works there in the bargaining unit and have the unilateral right to determine who's going to work there and who's not going to work there, and that does not constitute an unfair labor practice. You can't tell me that.
All right, we're going to take a break for a minute.
What time are we going till?
We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Barbara, do you know the people on the personnel board, who they are?
Yeah,
Who's,
It's changed a few times.
who's Commissioner Mariano's appointee? The guy that owns it on the Gulf?
I don't know who owns it.
I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
I'm trying to think who his appointee is. Doreen has that.
Okay, we're back on Article 18. We're prepared to TA on 18. We will withdraw our added sentence at the end of paragraph 1, which would take us back to the previous language. We're prepared to TA on
You're gonna prepare a new one,
that. Sure.
your secretary. Hey, on management rights,
Okay.
I brought my trusty whiteout tool. That last sentence, I don't like
Hang
the
on a
way.
second. Article number,
4, this new one that you handed out.
oh, okay.
It says correspondingly, the union has a right to request impact bargaining.
Mhm.
I wanted to say correspondingly, the union has the right to impact bargain over a decision of subcontract.
I can't agree to that because there's a standard that you have to meet to get impact bargaining. We're not going to waive you meeting your standard. You have to show some impact. You have to be able to articulate the impact.
Well, that's still
So we're not
all right.
going to give you a free pass to impact bargain.
I'm not asking for a free pass. And if there's not grounds to impact bargain, and the bargain, if it doesn't meet the criteria to have impact bargaining, then we wouldn't have that right. So if we want to say correspondingly, the union has a right to impact bargain over decision of subcontract bargaining unit work under chapter 447, that's fine. I just don't want it to be limited to a request.
Well, that's how impact bargaining starts. You make a request to impact bargain.
Well, sure, we can request.
But we're going to deny that request if you haven't properly articulated any impact. Correspondingly, we're going to grant your request an impact bargain if you have.
Okay,
So we're not going to give you a free pass.
I'm not asking for a free pass.
Sure
like
you
I
are.
said. No, I'm not. I just don't want it to be misconstrued that we only have a right to request it, and that we disagree with the fact that the union, you believe you have a right for impact bargaining.
We'll
We
work on
disagree.
some language then. That
Well, I just
makes it
did.
clear that, no, I don't think you did. I think the clause you wanted to put at the end does nothing. But write it out and I'll take a look at it.
Why does it do nothing?
Write it out. I'll take a
Because
look
under
at it.
chapter 447, if we do not have a right to demand impact bargaining, then we don't have a right.
I think if you look through 447, you're not going to find the word impact bargaining in there very often,
Right.
if at all.
Okay, well then, what would govern the rules of impact bargaining?
Per case law.
Okay.
PERC has articulated the standard for impact bargaining.
But FERC case law is an interpretation of what? Chapter 447.
447.
All revolving around chapter 447. So in accordance with chapter 447, then that encompasses all the case law.
Now, I'd rather put the clause in there for one of the PERC cases that say what the standard is so that you understand it and I understand
Do
it.
you have a specific case? Or
I'm sure we could pull them out.
how about in accordance with, what's wrong with saying chapter 447? I don't understand.
It's too broad.
But I mean, everything to do with why we're here falls under chapter 447.
But we're still here. We're going to have those details. Give it back. I'll add some language to it. I'll pull some language up from one of the cases. I'll give you a copy of the case to show you where it came from.
Chapter 447, in accordance with chapter 447 and relevant case law. Decisions. How about that?
I'd rather articulate it. I think we could do that easy enough.
Well, you're gonna find a decision that works for you, and not one
I'm
that.
going to find a decision that's issued by PERC that they issued. It won't be signed by me.
Well, I understand
It
that,
won't
but
be in order
I
that I
know
sign.
that we can have case law decisions that.
Well, you'll let your lawyer look at it, and he'll tell you whether you should sign it or not.
All right, so we're just gonna hold off on that.
Okay, let me have that back.
Oh, I need a copy of that.
Okay, we'll make one.
All right, monetary benefits. Article 5. I really didn't get a chance to look at this. Is it just the same minus the last part of it? What am I gonna do? Would that be a yes? Is it the same?
Should
I
be.
added D, right?
I said, yeah. So
Added
added
D.
D.
Added
and
D
took
and
off the
deleted the
last
last
paragraph.
paragraph in its entirety.
I was discontinued in the year prior to ratification. This was discontinued within 1 year ratification. I don't know if there's much difference. And the year prior, I mean, certainly didn't mean it to be, calendar or.
We're okay with it either way. If you want to write it your
Yeah,
way,
you can just.
notate it, we'll have it retyped.
Was discontinued within 1 fiscal year prior to ratification.
Okay. Next.
I want to talk about inspectors before we void, in case I forget. It doesn't have anything to do with bargaining, it's just more of a classification issue, whether they're in the unit or not. Unless you want to talk about it now.
Up to you.
Do you believe that inspectors, utilities inspectors and solid and hazardous waste inspectors are part of the bargaining unit? Because my understanding that they are, or they have been.
I can check the list upstairs.
They weren't on our list.
Do you have the order with you, by any chance, a copy of the PERC order certifying the unit?
I didn't bring everything with me now.
Might be able to.
I knew they were in here, there were guys that were involved in it, so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they were involved all
Yeah.
along, but then when we got the bargaining unit to do the mail out for ratification, they were saying they didn't get the ballots, and then we looked on the list and they're not on it.
Well, then that was the change.
Yeah, Gary Shockman,
Yeah.
inspector, and he was definitely involved with us, so.
And another dude,
And I was just bringing
You
those
know,
up.
These are the hazardous waste inspectors. Hazardous waste
Solid
inspectors.
and hazardous waste inspector and utility compliance inspector, the two, right, Ed?
Yes.
What are these codes, job codes, 8041?
A phone number, that's just extensions. It's just phone number. If you want to get a hold of me in the office.
yeah, there was one other inspector.
Inspection Scheduler 1, Inspection Scheduler 2 are included.
They have a solid,
That's building inspectors.
right, they have a solid and hazardous waste.
Solid and Hazardous Waste Inspector is in.
And utility compliance inspector. Or is it just utility inspector?
There's something that says Utility Inspector.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the compliance.
Those, as
Is that
two
a different
different, yes,
Yes,
that's in management, you know. This is different. They work for Fiscal and Bob Sigmund, these positions.
Okay, so he said solid and hazard waste inspectors and then
It's just utility inspector, but not.
without the compliance, but I don't know if there's, if
Utility
that's two
inspector is different. But the problem is,
Oh, wait a second, so utilities inspector and utilities compliance inspector are two different jobs?
Two different jobs, yes.
I'm not sure about it.
I work in the department, I know these people, and I know the inspectors, I talk to them
Well,
every
one's
day.
in and one's not,
Then one's in,
according to
one's
the
out.
list. I'm just looking at the list.
To answer your question.
Oh, the excluded list?
Included says utility inspector.
Does exclude, do you have the excluded
I
list?
do. There's no reference to it.
And usually when one inspector's in, they're all in. Unless it's an inspector, supervisor, or management or something.
The utility inspectors are under contract management. These inspectors are under Bob Sigmund's group, which is fiscal and handles spills and.
Can you give a name of the excluded utilities inspector for Barbara, maybe with the cross-reference of somebody, the excluded one?
Well, those are the ones,
These are included, right?
you said that contract, utilities inspectors are included.
Utilities
Are-
inspector.
yes.
All right,
Are
those are
included.
not these people,
Okay.
okay,
I see what you're saying, okay.
right.